Welcome everybody to the April Wednesday one of Women in Film and Video. I'm Melissa Houghton, delighted to have you here tonight. And I do promise we'll open the doors to try and keep it as cool as we can. Very excited to have Najima Washington with us tonight because, okay, I'm on LinkedIn and that's about as far as that relationship goes. So I'm looking forward to learning a lot. A lot of people use it to professionally network with me, but it's not always a reciprocal relationship. So I'm looking forward to doing that. In fact, I'm like, who are you and why do you think I know you? But that's fine. Najima is with Sterling Flow, which is a digital marketing company. So she's been working out all of these pieces. But in addition to that, in addition to helping all of us with our social media work, she's also known as a philanthropist, and she's a co-founder of Black Women Bike, as well as a founder of Women Aim, which is all about finding accountability partners, opportunities for ideation, and seeking and providing mentorship. So it's a great organization that we totally believe in and try and do that within our community as well. I have a couple questions that I would like to know before we get started, and so Najima also has a better idea of how to move things forward a little bit. So how many of you are in an active job search right now? Actually all.
Okay.
How many of you are freelancers rather than looking for a full-time staff position? So about, a third. Well, whatever, right? You'll take whatever comes along? Okay.
That's the one.
All right. How many of you actually attended the job fair on Saturday? Oh, good. A nice mix. Scott was there actually as an exhibitor looking for people, so thank you for coming tonight, Scott. The job fair, which only happens once a year because it's hard enough to get everybody together, is a great opportunity. And how many of you have linked in with people that you met at the job fair on Saturday? And how many of you will be doing that tonight when you get home? Excellent. So I'm going to turn it over to you and just get out of the way, and I promise I will open the door. No problem.
You guys match.
We do?
I'm also known as a fashionista. I guess I'll get ready whenever we all good back there, guys? Excellent, wonderful. I'm so very happy to be here. Again, my name is Najima Davis Washington. I have been working in this digital space pretty early on since the inception. My girlfriend and I like to say that we, founded Twitter before there was Twitter. We had an idea, we ran with it, and it was great. I've worked on a lot of different digital and new media projects over the years. Sterling Flow Media Group is a boutique firm that I started about 7 years ago. We're really ramping up now with the onslaught of social and digital media. So I'm going to be speaking to you today about one of my favorite platforms, which is LinkedIn. I consider myself an evangelist to LinkedIn. They didn't give me any wings or anything, but I consider myself an evangelist. And what I want you to think about as we talk about LinkedIn is showing up and working it. All right? What we want to do is we want to develop a robust profile that really highlights your strengths, and then you want to have a plan in place, a strategy to really make sure that you're working, LinkedIn as much as possible. All right. So you got to show up. All right. We use Twitter or Facebook for the most part as more of our entertainment related, social media platforms. But LinkedIn is really a powerful platform for you to develop relationships, to showcase your knowledge, and to also make connections that many of you, I'm sure, are looking for, for jobs. It does require a significant amount of upkeep, so to speak. You've got to work it on the front end and on the back end. So this slide says you got to show up, but it really should say you got to show off. All right. Why? Because you're competing for attention. You're competing for attention from thousands, hundreds of thousands of other people all across the world. That's the great thing about LinkedIn. It's global. So you want to show you want to showcase that you have particular expertise, and you want to do that by being active on the platform. The first thing people are going to see, though, is your profile. And what we want to do is to keep employers and or contacts, just put an asterisk there, and your contacts, your potential contacts, because not necessarily everyone is going to be a job contact. Someone just might be someone that you talk to get a couple of steps closer to a job. The goal is keeping employers on your page. It's just like with websites. Does anybody here work with websites? Okay, so you know about time on page. You want to make sure that people's eyes are there. So, and it's the same thing as, as if someone were looking at your paper resume. They are scanning those things for keywords, all right, which your profile should be full of to attract the types of employers in the industry that you're looking for, okay? So what do you need? You need to highlight your strengths. You need a standout headline, and I'll say you need an eye-catching picture. What you want to do, and I'll go through these a little bit more in depth, is you want to optimize your profile the best way that you can. Again, including keywords in various sections of the profile, in the summary, in the header, all right? And you want to build that out. So in highlighting your strengths, you're going to use the space for your summary, which is about 2,000 characters, all right? And how many of you have been were on LinkedIn from pretty much the start when it was pretty fresh and new? All right, all right. I'm sure you've all seen the platform has really grown and really changed. And whereas we looked at it one way, now with the added and supplemental platforms, publishing, the apps, you can use LinkedIn in a totally different way than we were when it first started. It's much more robust, and it's much more informative, all right? So your strengths should be highlighted in your summary, all right? You want to be succinct with what you're writing. You don't want to go on and on and on about what you've done unless you're talking about numbers and results, all right? So it's just like if you were writing part of your resume, you want to make sure that you highlight the results that you have, put in from your time at whatever positions you've had, okay? Again, you want to use keywords. You want to show your skills, all right? When I started using LinkedIn, I don't know that we really had an opportunity to highlight your skills like that, much less examples of your work. All right, now that is a really powerful portion of the platform now. You can include not only links to websites, you can include prior presentations, if your job is presentation heavy, all right? You can add video and other media. So how many of you have information on roles? I'm sorry, you just have media that you're ready that you could use as an example? A couple of people, right? Pretty sure a lot of you. All right, so it's critical now that you can add that information on LinkedIn. And if I'm brave enough, maybe I'll go to my actual profile and show you all. All right. All right. So something to think about also is to address gaps in your employment. All right. You can use the space however you choose to. Use it to address those gaps. Use it to talk about your desire to change directions in your career. All right. You want to speak directly to the audience, like pretend the perfect person is sitting in front of you, and you can tell them everything you need to know about yourself in this LinkedIn profile. Let's get a show of hands. If you actively use the platform, how many of you see long summaries and then short summaries? You know, like half and half, right? The industry's still out on that, on whether or not your summary should be, you should use a full 2,000 characters or not. I tend to think that a whole bunch of text on page isn't really attractive. And if someone is trying to, get to the point and they're looking at your page, it's not perhaps the best thing to have this block of text. But again, if you are succinct and using your bullets to show results, that'll be pretty powerful. Okay. So they say that your headline, does everybody know what I'm talking about when I said the headline? Your headline is actually automated when you first start LinkedIn. But if you're unaware, you don't know that you can change that. So you can change the headline by going to the pencil. Everything in edit mode is in a pencil in LinkedIn. That's good to know. And you can change it. You can change it there, and you can be creative or not. Let's see. This says, let your context know where you've been and where you'd like to go. So you can talk about the past, you can forecast for the future. Use keywords that your industry uses. When I was researching this, if you were in robotics, then you would talk about robotics platforms. What's something here that people in your industry would know? A platform, a software? Premiere. Okay. Avid. So things like that, you can consider putting your experience in the headline, putting that type of information, like I know Avid Pro is another, so I was going to say Avid Pro, that doesn't work. Avid Expert, yes, it works. So if you are stuck, I've got a potential solution, a formula, that's what it's called. So to develop your headline, you want to use a keyword for your industry and then talk about what it is that you do. Let's say you were in sales. You would throw sales in there and for whom you do it. For major auto manufacturer, right? What I would want to do in my headline is I would make sure that the person reading it knows part of my expertise. They know the industry that I'm in, the industry that I want to be in. And I also like to think you can put a bit of results in here as well. So now what I don't like, however, is headlines that get a little bit too long. Another issue that is people are out on the fence about is whether or not you include that you're looking for new opportunities, all right? They're out on the fence about it, the LinkedIn experts, whoever those people are. I happen to think that it's a good idea to let people know that you're currently looking for a new opportunity, all right? Otherwise, might just pass you by, all right? But also remember that the date of your last employment might also indicate that you are looking for new opportunities. All right, so the last part of a strong profile was a good picture, okay? So here are some things that we don't want to do. We don't want to take a picture of, our girlfriends out at dinner on Friday night before we hit the bar because you've cropped out, the other people in your photo that shouldn't be there in the first place. Okay, you've got proportions squeezed here, all right? Or if you're too far away, these don't make for very good profile pics. We're a little bit more savvy about this now because you have a really strong profile pic for Facebook and for your other social media as well. So you want to choose a picture that is clean and clear, nothing in the background, okay? You want it properly sized. There's nothing worse than, looking at a picture like, people have been known to also take screenshots of, something they're working on, a project or whatever, and use that as their profile picture or their logos. Let's not use those. LinkedIn is your site for your professional networking, and it should be you that's focusing on. No one's going to hire a logo. They're not hiring a logo. They're hiring you. And if you want to show what you've done, there's opportunities in LinkedIn to do that. Okay. So yes, and let's make sure we show our face. So the one thing that I really do like about LinkedIn is it gives you the opportunity for a customizable URL. How many of you are making use of that right now? Okay, let's see if I can even pull up. LinkedIn went down at one point today. Well, kind of, sort of. Oh no, this doesn't work. Sorry, it's not going to show you over here. My apologies.
I thought that was your LinkedIn profile picture.
No. That would be great though. I love it. All right. Yes, you can choose a custom URL. Again, it's going to sit at the very bottom of your first profile box. Okay, you're going to look for the edit button, the pencil, and you're going to change it to something a little bit more manageable. And you're going to try to eliminate, you're going to eliminate that string of numbers that sits at the end of your profile. And what's great about this is because when you've built up your LinkedIn profile to be as robust as it can be, that can now serve as your website. Think about it. If you're not web savvy, if you don't have time for WordPress, if you don't want to pay for Squarespace, whatever the case may be, you can choose your custom URL and make it your own. And now you don't want to change it too many times. So you want to, sort of like with all of your handles, you want to get it right the first time. Now, I have a stickler about using all three of my names. So, but you can imagine that makes for a very long personal website and a very long LinkedIn profile. But I felt like it was appropriate. But think very long and hard about what you select. What are some of the ideas? What would you do? Would you do your first name and your last initial, or what are some of the thoughts? Something like that? Yeah. I see people doing stuff like that.
Make it consistent, I would think.
Definitely. Good point. Mm-hmm. Let's say you have a Twitter account, right? If you were smart about your Twitter handle, then it could be your LinkedIn handle, or vice versa. As long as it's not, I love cats and pickles, it should be fine. All right, so again, I keep mentioning, the opportunity to show work examples. There's nothing more valuable than this. To add images, videos, links, presentations. What are some of the more creative things that people have seen on LinkedIn? As far as, examples of your work. Anything in particular? Let me think on that.
That question reverse, because I haven't seen very many people doing good additions in. But when the work sample you want to show is somebody else's project that you've worked on,
Mm-hmm.
so you were the editor on the project,
Right.
and you want to link that in. Is there a particular way that you should denote that? And how can you really explain what your part of was in that piece?
Well, you can, when adding the project, denote the other people that worked on the project. I don't know, at the time that I was very familiar with it, it did not allow you to give a role, but I would make that known in some notes about, the project elsewhere, because there's two different ways to highlight what you've done. It's the literal media, and then you can add projects and publications and more below, and that's where you would give more information about who worked on the project and perhaps what your role was.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. So this is just a short fact file. Not sure that many of you all can see. This is kind of small. Adding a profile picture could result in 14 times more views than someone without. I think we're all going to have profile pictures, though. I don't know too many people who don't have profile pictures. Your summary should be a little bit more than 40 words. 40 words is not capturing the attention of the folks that are looking for employees. And how could you really talk about your experience in the industry if you're only putting in a couple of sentences? All right. There's an opportunity to include your skills. All right. So those who include skills get around 13 times more profile views. And adding an industry could get you 15 times more profile views. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to take a little pause here and ask if anyone wants to go into any particular detail about some of the skills. Sure.
So when you're looking at LinkedIn,
Yeah.
there's that little bubble in the corner
Mhm.
that shows you the strength of your profile.
Oh, we got the mic. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I have to start over. So when you're looking at your LinkedIn, is it working? Is that all? Is that everything you need?
It's not working?
Oh, okay. So there's a, let me start over from the top
Right.
for them. There's a bubble at the corner of your profile in LinkedIn, and it shows you kind of the level of
Completeness.
completeness.
Right. How much of a rock star you are.
Right, yes. I guess my question to that is how much is actually reflected? Because you can have a bunch of clutter, I guess, on your profile, and it'll tell you, like, great job, but is it actually helpful? So how do you use this data and not overdo it, I guess? Oftentimes, I
Good
kind of use
question.
it as a storage for all the things,
Oh, do you?
which isn't the best, but I know where to find it.
Yeah, that's,
So, yeah.
well, I'm going to think on that storage thing for a second.
No worries.
So, yes, I get excited by that little blue circle. 'Cause it tells me I'm an all-star because I've connected with people, all right? I've joined groups. I make regular updates. But I would caution from making, your Dropbox, so to speak. I would say, depending on your years in the industry and the variety of things that you're showing, I can't imagine that you would have more than 5 examples on your profile, and they should pretty much be all diverse. All right. So if you want to show the range of, let's say, software that you work with, I would suggest no more than 5 pieces, whether it's an image or presentation, whatever the case that you may have. See, what else would I add about that? And what you could do, this is where adding information on the lower parts, on the skills or the projects, all right? Adding that information would be great. Maybe if you could find a place to store some of those things and just, have a link to maybe one of those projects. Oh. Okay, gotcha.
So I guess my question isn't so much the number of projects that I'm showing. It's more like job history or, I mean, I think, at least in my case, many of us have had a lot of different jobs in a lot of different areas. And what do you show that's most useful? Is it specifically in your industry? I mean, you have a number of things that can work together to show that you're capable of blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So how do you decide what would actually be, I mean, do you show everything you've done, or do you select very specifically those things?
All right, so the question first would be, are we looking for a new job in the same industry, or are we looking for a new job in a different industry? This is where those keywords come up and are important for you to focus there on the types of information you put out about your jobs. I would put either the most recent or the most impactful, where you can show the most results, particularly if it's a case where you're trying to change industries and you need to show that you have some experience, even if it's not traditional. Speaking of non-traditional experience, let me also encourage you to definitely highlight your volunteer experience on LinkedIn. It's a very important part. You can overcome a lot of humps if you can show that even in your volunteer time, you've worked on something that might not be in your regular purview of duties, so to speak. All right. Anybody know why she's up on the screen? Well, we showed it. Now we got to work it. All right. You have to work your profile. All right. Because it's still networking. I can't really tell you how critical it still is to develop relationships with folks. And it's in this day and time, it's maybe not possible to meet with folks, you know, face to face, or let's say someone's in California, their new contact, heck, they can be in Wales, whatever the case may be. The point is, you got to work it like you would your networking in everyday life. All right. So that is being knowledgeable about not only yourself, and I'll tell you about that a little bit more, but about your contact, your potential contact. All right. You want to do your research. LinkedIn's a great place to do that. You could see where people have worked, who they've worked with, what they've worked on. All right. And you want to do what I like to do in networking is you got to share information. That's what it's about. It's about these two pieces that need each other coming together. All right. So I know that Jane likes 17th century French literature. And I just so happen to, you know, see a related article. So what do? You know, I read it, kind of summarize it, think about it, send it on to Jane. I know it's one of the things she's passionate about, so you can share it that way. It's the same way. Networking is networking. All right, so this is also kind of, I won't say controversial, because the platform has changed. Everybody, well, people remember when you first got on LinkedIn, the whole thing was, don't invite anybody you don't know. That's still kind of what they say. Like, you know, if you don't know these people, don't ask to link with them. So what's, you know, are you going to be selective or are you going to be open? You're going to cast a wide net. But then again, are you going to be reciprocal? So you can cast a wide net and hopefully folks will respond and will accept your request. But then the same thing in reverse. Are you going to do the same? Because sometimes there are people that I don't really feel like are best matched with me. Or I'm not interested in networking with them. Or they're too young. Or what was the last one that just escaped my head? But it is flattering when someone outside of your network, who's a pretty big deal, requests you. That happened with, let's say, someone in education for me. And I'm like, how did you really find me, you know? And you want to know how? Probably because of that side box that says, you know, something like other people in your network, or they looked at, you know, the next group of people that were, you know, similar to your skills or whatnot. So I was real flattered when that person contacted me It's actually happened twice, out of the blue. But here's what I don't like. All right. If you choose to network with someone and try to connect with them, especially if you don't really know them, I think it's rude not to send some type of message. All right? I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, but if, like I said, this person out of the blue decided to network with me, and I'm like, oh, this is great, but we haven't had any correspondence, we haven't had any. So that's why I say we're still here to network, and you got to do it like you're doing it on the ground. All right? All right, another powerful way to work your job search is to share relevant information. All right, think of LinkedIn like a bulletin board or even Pinterest to a degree. You put up what you would like the public to see about your professional life. All right, so you're going to share personal updates and you're going to share work-related successes. Does anyone here manage a page for a company? Okay. So along the same lines, would you say that's kind of like a blog, the updates?
Kind of. We mostly share like related news. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
We mostly share like related news articles. Our audience on LinkedIn is like, they're kind of different than our audience on like Facebook, and so we share sort of like science-y news with them because that's, you know, their field. So it's not really, some of it is our own content, but most of it is not.
Okay. So you can do the same. You can have a mix of your own personal content or information about your industry. What I like also is the opportunity for you to really express your opinion. And that's what we call being a thought leader, all right? I'm going to talk about Pulse a little bit later, so I'll go straight to giving endorsements to your peers, all right? I'm a little double-minded about endorsements and recommendations. I thought that recommendations were very powerful, and then they went and introduced endorsements, which I felt like kind of watered it down a little bit. Because think about when you turn on LinkedIn, you go to the page, it pops up, and it's asking you to endorse these people. How many people are really thinking about what they're doing? How many people are you just saying, oh, sure, that works, you know? So I think the endorsements are a little less powerful than the references or the recommendations. But, sure.
How many references do you recommend per job? As much as you can? It may look a little, would it be just kind of overkill if you, for one job, if you had like 3 different references or 4 or 5?
I am so sorry.
No, we forgot. Sorry.
We forgot.
Are you talking references or recommendations?
Recommendations. I'm
So
sorry.
please start the question again.
Recommendations. How many references, past employees, you know, on your page? If you have maybe 3 or 4 for each particular job, is that like overkill?
I would think that 3 to 4 recommendations per job opportunity is a little bit of an overkill, unless the work that you did was incredibly significant. It spanned a few years, and these individuals had different experiences dealing with you and your skill set.
Makes sense. So about maybe 2 or 3 the most.
I
maybe?
would think 2 at the most, depending on, you know, like, well, for me, at my day job, I've been there quite some time.
Yeah.
So I'm talking over 10 years.
Oh, okay. So
you know,
yeah.
I'm looking to have 5
Yeah.
professional references from, you know, the things that I've worked on
Okay.
at my job.
Employees, possibly employees, they really look at, because I just recently found out about how important references are on your page. So then I started reaching out to old
Yes.
colleagues, bosses, there's sort of things for that. So because I would get all these endorsements email, like this one endorsed this one or this one endorsed you. And I couldn't never really understand it because I'm thinking some of these people don't really know me. So how are they endorsing me?
Right. Like
Yeah.
I said, like watered down.
Yeah.
You know? Anyone else want to, while we talk about that?
I just wanted to follow up. You said you used to feel that you didn't connect to people that you don't know, but have you changed your view on that, or?
That is a strategy for you to use, yes, in really looking for your job search. Like, you can hone in on people. If you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking for, your next boss, if you happen to know who's interviewing you, where appropriate, I think it is important. If you are obviously representing yourself in a very professional way, and you give them that note. You let them know why you want to connect with them. You give them an idea of, I really want to talk to you about this, or I had these experiences and I wanted to know if they were the same for you. So I was against casting that wide net, but now I feel like you should be pretty targeted. Think about who that person has in connection with you, like who you have in common. Think about that. Think about, because LinkedIn will tell you who you have in common, who you like, mutual friends and mutual connections. They will tell you the skills that you share, right? If you and this person share certain skills, location, employers, it'll share all that information. So, yes, thank you for that question. All right. So I did want to tell you the good thing about it is you can reorder these as you see fit. So again, when you're at the box with the skills, use the pencil and reorder. As also you are aware, you can reorder your entire LinkedIn profile. The whole thing is for you to decide how you want to put it. You can even determine whether or not you show your whole company description, like, job description, or you just do job titles. All right. There's also one thing, two things that I want to make sure that I point out. One, you want to make sure that you can be found on LinkedIn. All right. And it's like you got to make sure that the box is clicked. And then the second thing is determine on whether or not you want all of your profile updates to be public. There is yet again a small box. Where is that? Towards the bottom, when you're rounding down the bottom of your profile, you can click that and it'll let you make all of those public or not. Because you have to think about it, like how often are you updating, It starts to become a little bit like Twitter, which isn't a bad thing, as long as you're savvy in how you utilize the profiles. I'm gonna keep moving a little bit. All right, so get and give and get recommendations. You can ask people, from your colleagues, by the job or by the project that you worked on. Okay. All right. So you can even ask them, you can choose, by job, who you want to ask, and they even give you an opportunity to create a message to send to them. All right. All right. So here are 3 specific tools for the job search. All right. The one goes without saying is the job board, or connecting with companies, following those companies. That information will start to be fed to you in your job, in your on your page, and also let's see, you can follow individuals later, job board. You can save searches. So if you're looking for someone in particular, you can save searches for up to 3 individuals and for up to 10 jobs. So if you're researching, say I want to do social media in Atlanta, all right, that's one search I can save. Or digital marketing in San Francisco, another search I can save. And I can even save searches for individuals. So we've talked about the job board, the save searches, and participating in groups. All right. On average, about how many groups is anyone participating in? Let's see, about 5. 5. Anybody else? I think 5 is about. Let's talk about that.
I said I'm in 5 groups, but I'm not really participating that much.
Well, there can be a lot of noise. You know, as the platform's grown, there's good and bad with everything. So there is a lot of noise, just like there's a lot of noise on Twitter. You got to find the quality and weed out the rest. I tend to think any group with caps in they're all caps in their names, I'm not really trying to be a part of. But participating in groups can be a tremendous opportunity. You get to test out your ideas with other people, right? You get to find out what other people are working on. Maybe you find out what skills you might need. Let's say you're changing industries. Or get leads on jobs. Definitely an important part of the job search. All right. So, and I'm wrapping up, and we can get questions in a bit. I'd be happy to answer them all for you. So, again, one of my favorite new things about LinkedIn is the opportunity to publish on LinkedIn Pulse. All right. So, what you can do here is take the time to write, let's say 500 to 1,000 words on a topic that's related to your industry. Let's say a new regulation came out from FDA about XYZ. Well, if you have an opinion, then you write about it. Or let's see, if you were a law student and you heard about, let's see, the Panama Papers, you might have something to say. So it's a great time or opportunity for you to set yourself out and demonstrate your knowledge and become what I call a thought leader. Y'all have heard that term before. You lead the industry, or you lead your peers with your thoughts about a particular issue. All right? Pulse is also about news as well. So as you are not only giving information, you're getting, Pulse posts from Richard Branson or Dr. Steve Perry or Dr. Oz, whomever. So you can follow those individuals, all right, interact with them, comment on posts. What I really want to stress about all of this is that, yes, it's time intensive. And the LinkedIn that I started out with about 8 years ago is not the LinkedIn that I have now. And you have to invest your time into figuring out how the platform works and how it works for you. You want to highlight your strengths. You want to kill them with your headline. All right. You want a professional picture. You want to let people know what skills you have. Show your projects. And get and give endorsements as well as quality recommendations. You can recommend up or recommend down. It works either way. All right. And lastly, you can publish posts to demonstrate that, I'm thinking about this. I can solve this problem. I noticed this, all right, in our industry. I can solve this problem. You're speaking directly to employers, you know, because that's what they're hiring people to what? That do what? Solve their problems, plain and simple. Okay? So I would encourage you to spend some time to really make your profile robust and hope that you have much success doing so. And because networking is the key. Networking got me this gig. And I'm very thankful for the time that I've had with you so far. I'm going to open it up for questions. All right, we've got a couple hopefully all over.
I'll make mine brief. There's LinkedIn, which is the freebie site, and then they keep bugging me for LinkedIn Plus. Discuss.
Well, how bad do you want a new job, I guess is the question.
What's the value added?
Well, premium gives you the opportunity to connect much more easily with more people. You cut down on the degrees of separation. You get more invitations for email, or rather, you know what I'm saying? The in-mail, you can email people more directly and easier. You get more information on the jobs themselves that you might be applying for. You get information on the salaries. You may be able to see how you rank with your competition, or at least how you compare with your competition. So, sure.
Can I add?
Certainly.
For us, they also, you get Linda. There's
Yes,
a
you
Linda.
get Linda.
Yeah, subscription. And it's, yeah.
Is it 30 days or is it for a while? Oh, with premium.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
premium, you get Linda.
With premium, you get Linda, and it's $30 a month for premium. Yeah, so it's
Totally cost effective for Linda.
yeah, it's exactly the same for just getting Linda. So
Thank you.
All right, here we go.
I just have a couple things to add that
Sure.
might be helpful.
Yes.
You know, when you're talking about making yourself being easy to find, pardon me. I have a hyperlink on my email signature. Just goes LinkedIn profile. And also on any digital resume and cover letters, you know, that are submitted electronically, I have that as well. And I always write in the cover letter, you know, you can access my LinkedIn connection. The link is below. So it's like they just have to click on it and it'll send them right there without any.
Yeah, they don't have to think about opening LinkedIn and getting there.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And then another thing I do that impressed one of the people at the job fair the other day was along with my resume, I print out kind of like the best of
Okay.
my LinkedIn recommendations.
Oh.
So I have people in the industry, you know, the highest ranking, you know,
Right.
most powerful people
Right.
at the top with just a couple of sentences. So it's like, you know, people don't, it kind of gives a little extra pizzazz
Yes.
so that a possible employer can see some recommendations right there from the people and what they have to say about me.
Right.
And I've found that to be, those little tips to be kind of helpful.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you. Right. Sure, let's put this right here. I'll come back around that way.
I've noticed a lot of places where I'm applying, there's a choice to either upload your resume or to upload through LinkedIn. And I just upload my resume. I feel like that gives me the opportunity to tweak it to be more specific for what I'm applying for. But do you think that there's more of an advantage to just uploading through LinkedIn, that the digital, like that sort of digital format is preferred by HR departments or whoever's looking at it on the other end? Maybe they don't want the PDF or the Word document anymore.
Right. I can't speak to all of, you know, human capital because who knows, but I've thought about that myself. And I do what you do. I prefer to upload my own resume. I think that's something people are going to play with for a little bit. I would have to ask some of my HR folks how they feel about it because, well, I think it's half and half. Like a couple of jobs ask for it, a couple of jobs don't ask for my LinkedIn profile, or rather my LinkedIn resume. There is a possibility, you're right, that if someone is looking for a job in a particular, looking for an application or resume in a particular format, that's something that stands out, could either do that, stand out, or be discarded. Yeah. Great question. So I guess that's the thing is, try to make your LinkedIn
Match your resume.
Well, here's the thing. Specifically, there's so many things I couldn't tell you. You can make your LinkedIn profile. You can turn your stuff into a resume.
Yeah, that's how I have mine.
Yeah. So
Matches my resume because I was told, because what I'm noticing now in the job search, how LinkedIn is so important in the job search, I'm noticing a lot of jobs that I'm applying for, the hiring managers are looking at my LinkedIn page before they call me in for an interview.
yes.
So what I found out from a lot of HR, was that they do that to see if your LinkedIn matches your resume, if it's the exact same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We had some other questions back here. All right.
Hi. My question is with the headline. For myself, I'm looking into transitioning, and right now I'm a teacher. And however, if I'm looking into getting to production, but however, someone's to view my profile, they'll see a teacher. But possibly not think that I'll be interested in production when I am. Is that something to place in my profile, my summary? But however, sometimes those things can just be read through because it's more like of a skim thing.
Right.
So I wanted to say like what alternatives to place on your headline and not limit yourself.
So not only can you change your headline, everything's customizable. You can also change your industry. So if you're thinking of making the switch, personally, I would go on to make the switch in my profile because that's who you want to be found by.
Right.
I would snazzily, address it in my headline and maybe go into a little bit more in depth in the summary. Still remember, you only have 2,000 characters, okay? I would do it that way so that if it is skimmed over, it's in a couple of different places, you have the challenge of trying to figure out, what skills are you highlighting, thinking about how they transfer from, I don't know what transferable skills there are from teaching to production.
Right.
If there are, that type of thing. Or also, again, your volunteer work, your other projects, your outside work, those are going to be very important for you as you transition.
Oh, great.
Okay? There you go. Okay, right here.
Okay, how do you handle all of the email that you may receive regarding your LinkedIn account? Is there, I kind of probably need LinkedIn for Dummies. Actually, I'm an HR person, but I don't use it.
Okay.
For a personal side.
Okay.
And I'm just a little nervous about like all the connections and the emails and a person looked at it and is this all day or?
I have my information set up to where I only receive information about invitations or new connections, all right? You can customize what it is that you like to receive. I'm pretty sure they even do either a daily digest or a weekly digest, depending on how frequently you're interested in getting this information. Where I feel like that's particularly your issue is particularly troublesome is the group thing. So if you're involved in a lot of groups, then there's going to be if it's a good group, there's going to be a lot of conversation. You're going to get a lot of traffic about that, a lot of email traffic, and you can again set up daily or weekly digests to sort of kind of funnel that stuff down. if that's the case, I would say be selective about the groups that you're in. You know, choose just, you know, the ones that are really going to make a difference to what it is that you're trying to do. All right. Well,
And then
pass it on.
also you
Sorry.
mentioned something about having text or versus like bullets. Would you recommend quick bullets?
I would definitely recommend my favorite summaries are not very short, but fairly short. You know, no more than 6 lines, or they are bulleted, you know, succinct. You know, that's what I prefer when I look at.
So it's kind of a professional summary.
Well,
What kind of summary?
okay, I like to think about it. I like to think about it as an opportunity, perhaps, to show a bit of your personality. You know, you're having a conversation. You're trying to reach someone. You know, show a little bit of your personality. You're talking about results. All right. This is when you brag on yourself. This is it. This is the time you brag on yourself. You're going to write it about 4 to 5 to 6, 7, maybe 10 times. Write a couple of different versions. Write several different versions. Get the phrases that you like. Then you can start to hone down, you know, winnow down the words, and now you've got a stronger, punchier profile because you took the time to pull out the things that you needed. All right, here we go.
Okay. I've got like 4 questions
Okay.
now. First, that just came from the group thing. Just broadly, what's a good group size? Like, where can you not get lost in the noise, but then it's also like of benefit to you? Do you have any advice on that?
Group size. I would say fewer than 300 people. You think at least half of them aren't going to be active,
Yeah.
right? And then there might be 10 to 20 people who are really driving the conversation.
Okay.
So I would say, but you can always join and say, hey, look, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
You know, see how the conversation's going, see what they're talking about, if they're talking about anything at all.
Okay.
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, I joined a couple that were like 1,000, and I was like, what am I doing here? This
Yeah.
isn't going to help anything.
It just becomes promotion after a while. People are just
Yeah.
promoting themselves, and it's like it's pointless.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. What's a good frequency for Pulse? Like once a week, every other week, once a day?
I tried to write once a week. I tried it. You know?
Yeah.
I would definitely say if you can, once a month,
Okay.
you know? But as with everything, don't start something that you can't keep up, you know? Don't blog or post every week and you can't do it, you know? In month 4, you're like, I just can't, I'm burnt out. Then again, tell your readers, hey, I'm taking a hiatus. I'll give you some really great content. I would love to network with you about it. You know, write a post to say I'm on vacation. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think one sort of got answered. The last one was just, do you have a sample summary that you can show us? Because, like, I understand what you're saying, but it would really help to see an example.
Let me see. The issue is I can't actually pull anything up here. So I can share some stuff with you afterwards. But I'll tell you this. Themuse.com is a great site. They have lots of articles about LinkedIn and how to best use it. Yeah, the Muse, definitely for sure. That's a resource that I use. HubSpot is going to have some good articles too. So those two would be the two that I would suggest. But you know, Google will tell you. What would you Google? A great LinkedIn summary, and at least 1,000 things are going to come up, and you take the best from what you. To add to it, like I had a classmate of mine. Just interestingly enough, she decided that she wanted to highlight the fact that she was coming back to work after having her son. So like I mentioned, you could address gaps in your employment or significant experiences, but the space is yours. Space is yours. Okay. All right. All right. Anyone else? Any other questions? Here we go.
I did you? I got a couple questions too, so I'm just ramble on. I have a blank profile, and there's reasons for that right now that I'm sitting on a blank profile because on previous websites I had my picture taken away and use it for something else. So there's concerns about that that I have for that reason. But also with my blank profile, I receive a lot of unwarranted endorsements from people that may have known my address, and also from a separate employer that I left on very bad terms with, like 5 years from now. So I wanted to know if there is as I continue to get into this, people that may have experienced it or not, there's some way to kind of make that profile kind of private, or and block those unwarranted things in order to help me progress in my link on. Now, I'll let you answer that first one before I proceed.
So you're saying you're getting particular endorsements from folks that you don't have relationships with?
More like invitations, not really endorsements.
Yeah.
More just like invitations from companies that I left on bad terms with, and maybe just friends that I know.
So these are individuals we're talking about.
Yeah, and this is a professional email address. I have no idea how they found me. Not one.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, you're getting a lot of invitations from strangers.
It'll be a mix of strangers.
Right.
It'll be a mix of,
because you have no profile picture.
Yes, it'll be a mix of employers that I left on good terms with.
But
it'll be a mix of also bad that, hey, I'm not interested in you seeing where I'm at or what I'm doing because we left on bad terms.
Well, you can make your profile updates private. As I mentioned before, make those private. And I do believe you can even make yourself, now I don't know why anyone would do this, make yourself unsearchable on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You could, let's say you wanted to do it for a period in time, like you wanted to be on for 3 months, and then you decided either you got the job or you decided this wasn't working or I need something else. Let's see. And you're saying people that you either worked with in the past
It'll be
finding you?
Yes, it'll be a combination. Like, say, hey, I had some good people that find me, but it'll be, say, a former director or a supervisor that we left on bad terms, and they'll be like, hey, I want you to like my LinkedIn profile or something, or send me an email invitation, and I have no interest in accepting that invite at all.
I have over 500 invitations that I have not accepted.
Okay.
You're not obligated to communicate with them.
Okay. I'll go into my second question as well. I'm also, like you say, seeking a casting an opening net to employers that I may see that may have an opening, and going directly to them and letting them know that I'm interested. But I guess what we just discussed, setting that profile up to private, could that help me avoid any conflict at my current job if my employer says, hey, I see that you're seeking out new opportunities or something like that, by making that private?
Again, you could turn off any updates to your profile so no one that doesn't come in anyone's feed. I can't tell you anything about people who happen to have your email address that want to communicate with you later. As far as companies are concerned, I would say follow the companies that you're interested in. Companies now have pages. Companies have 2 pages now, 2 types of pages. It's just getting too much. Companies have 2 pages, 2 types of pages. You can follow them. You'll see their jobs, you know, and you can even see who's there. LinkedIn also, for some jobs, will tell you who the hiring person is, like who posted it.
Yeah, the manager,
You see
hiring
that?
manager.
Who's the hiring manager. And it will also tell you who in your network works at the company. So those are good pieces of info.
And my last one for now, all right, would be it's also correlating with turning off the notifications or making it private. I had a very close friend of mine that had someone endorse them. However, it wasn't really an endorsement. It kind of
Was it a recommendation?
It wasn't really a recommendation, more almost like say.
Oh, it was a poor recommendation.
Yeah, it was a poor recommendation, saying like this employee is kind of shaky. You know what I'm saying? Things are like that. I guess you can never really see like that things coming, but I guess you can. Like I said, I'm kind of new to my profile and building it up, so I guess you can turn off that notification or block it out as well.
You can, yeah.
Okay.
A negative recommendation you can eliminate.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the choice of what you want to show.
Great.
Like I said, it's
Okay,
a lot.
thank you.
It could be a lot of work. You know, I would say, take an hour once a day for a couple of weeks and just focus in on one block of the profile. Figure out how things work, particularly if you're looking for a job. Figure out how it works. All right, here we go.
When I first put up my profile and got LinkedIn going, I did like throughout the net and like all these people. Oh yeah, be friends. I've got all these people. I have no idea who they are. Is there a way to like unfriend them like you can on Facebook, or am I kind of stuck with them forever?
I do believe that you can sever your ties with someone. Also, the good thing about LinkedIn is they have a very robust help section. Frequently asked questions, there are plenty of them. And when I was looking at that, I do believe that severing your ties with someone is a chance on LinkedIn. Yes. All right. All right, I won't keep you all any longer. I want to thank you so very much for your time. All right. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.